All right, Mekone turned 16. We had some battles this turn, so let's take a look. We were going after Hinnom's main army, probably their last remaining army here, and we didn't catch it. So yeah, this is just PD. Our army should roll over this, no problem. Yeah, no losses. Looks like there's some random militia that he left behind. So yeah, his army went elsewhere. And let's see here. Then we had a battle against Ulm, where we were attacking. So this is our raider, our Polomark moving out, hopefully to recapture this province. But he did not move his army. So yeah, I mean, this was definitely a risk. A decent play on his part to anticipate that I would try to raid this back. This does give me an extra turn to prepare, right, since his army didn't move out. So, that's more recruitment, more research that I get to do. So I don't know. Is it worth it for him to kill a Polomark? I mean, I'm sure it feels good to get rid of one of these guys. Sorry, spoiler. This is way too much for him to handle. Like, he does all right? So you can see, like, he's getting repels, but here comes the damage. And I mean, it's like he has a decent amount of health. I think like 30 health is what they normally have. He's getting some damage and a few kills here. But I mean, he's at half health. He's already lost an arm. These guys just hit like way too hard. We will get Iron Skin, which will help a little bit. Because right now he's using Stone Skin. So, his protection could be a little higher. But, it's going to go up to like, I don't know, 29 or 30 or something. And against this, they get like the extra roll of the damage. Like, they're definitely going to be chipping through. So, yeah, these Polomarks cannot take on entire armies, at least not yet, with the level of research we have. And especially not, like, these Almost troops are kind of particularly bad to try to do this type of thugging against. So, yeah, that does not work out. But I believe our priest escapes, which is nice. Let's take a look. So yeah, we lost the remainder of the Bone Tribe, our Polomark, and his gear, so that really hurts. But our High Priest escapes, and we do basically no damage. So yeah, that's rough. That is a rough one. But like I said, it does give us some extra time to prepare. And we caught a battle between Marverni and Hinnom. I believe this is just them raiding out. Yeah, so not too much PD here. I think they'll be able to take this out without too many losses. Maybe a few guys, their units don't have a ton of protection, but it looks like they had enough numbers. I don't even think they took, no losses. So it was nicely done. So yeah, Marverni's starting to attack out. Like, this is good. I mean, this does cut into potential, like, spoils that we're going to get. But I mean, the sooner that we wipe Hinnom out, like, the better, especially considering that we have this Ulm problem. So yeah, always nice to have somebody, in your corner, helping with your war. Wow. Okay. Usually nice. Not vultures. But there's always vultures. And then we had some unexpected events. So we found some nature gems. That feels like some luck kicking in. And then some gold, some gems, an item, Girdle of Might. Always nice. Some reinvigoration. Probably some more luck kicking in. So yeah, luck starting to pay off a little bit. We missed a magic site search. This is our sage. Still not finding us any astral, but it's okay. It happens. He's only searching at level 1, so we'll probably, like I said, research some of those places. And then, this is never a good message to see. They're repairing the fort fast so we can tear it down because we just left like a single peltast on it. But he didn't choose to break out, so it's still under siege. We have not lost any of our progress. Well, okay, we've lost some of our progress, but not all of it. So that's good. We'll have to get our army back on top of there to actually break that down. And then we have some more starvation. That's not great. Yeah, really struggling to keep this army supplied. Promotion, we don't care. And then we cast this Blessing of the God Slayer, which is a Mekone specific spell. Let's take a look. So level 0, so you have it right away. And it basically just is a buff for one of your Polomarks. You can only do one, and I believe it only lasts through the year, so you probably want to do it at the start. And I don't know if we managed to hit that. Yeah. So we got it in the middle. Not perfect, not ideal, because I do believe that expires. I don't think I was like 100%. I'm still not 100%. I'm pretty sure. Certainly at the time of casting it, I don't think I realized that it, you was like, yeah, you really kind of want to time it with the start of the year. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this is really nice. Like +5 attack, +5 defense, always blessed, which is nice because, blessing the polar marks can be a problem. Halt Heretic is really nice if you're up against like gods or sacreds. I think it's like fatigue damage or maybe a stun against like sacreds or enemy gods. And I mean, inspirational doesn't hurt for help extra morale for any troops that you're leading. It is 5 water gems, and it doesn't last. So yeah, but I mean, this is a strong buff, so probably worth it. Anyway, we've done it. We can take a look. Like, yeah, you can see attack 23, defense 18. Here's this Halt Heretic. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I was wrong on that. So there you go. So it's an awe. It's basically awe only for sacreds and gods. Which I was confusing that with. Oh, he has a pike. Their normal weapon has this Bane of Heresy, which is the fatigue against gods and sacreds. So anyway, but yeah, you can see like now. I mean, he's getting boosted from an item as well. I believe this is our guy. But attack skill 23, versus like this guy, attack skill 14, like huge difference. So yeah, this guy's like significantly tougher. And probably still wouldn't be able to, solo that Almish army, but would be able to last a lot longer, which and get more kills as a result. So yeah, hopefully that will help us out. So what are we doing this turn? Well, we're chickening out with our Titan. So, we lost our Raider here because he didn't move, but he moved another stack up here with his god in it. And his god is also a Titan, a keeper of the bridge, who I think is like nature and earth, which makes sense given his bless. And I mean, I don't think it's like a particularly scary Titan, but I mean, any Titan, is a threat, definitely, right? It's going to be. Now, I mean, if he attacked into here, we would have the advantage because it's very high dominion for us, right? So, like, he wouldn't get the benefit of his bless, which he doesn't really care about, because the Titan is almost assuredly size 6, so larger doesn't matter, and like 1 HP on a chassis that has like probably like 100 or more HP anyway, like who cares? So but his max health will go down, which can matter for regeneration. Now I think it'll be based, the health that he comes in with will be based on where he is this turn, which is I think neutral dominion. But he won't be able to, his max health will be significantly lowered in this province, right? So it's kind of a weird thing where it's just like, yeah, their current health total is based, so if he were to move in here and attack, say he has like 100 health in this dominion, he would still have 100 health in the battle, but his max health might be reduced to like 70 or 50, like I don't know the exact reduction, but it's significant, for this much enemy dominion. And if he cast personal regeneration on himself, which is pretty standard for a Titan, that's what we're doing, and he has nature, so regeneration will only regenerate you up to that max hit point total, right? So he won't even start regenerating until he's gets chipped down or damaged down to that max hit point level, 70 or 50 or whatever it is, and then I believe his regeneration rate is also based on that lowered max HP. So that's a pretty significant advantage in our favor. Not in our favor is the fact that our Titan just has 60 Peltasts who absolutely cannot stand up to Ulm's troops. But Ulm's troops don't really like projectiles because almost none of them use shields. And in fact, I think he has some of the heavy infantries that have shields, but mostly his guys don't have shields, and their protection is a mix. Like some of these, I think Iron Warriors and maybe even the Steel Warriors don't have amazing protection. So anyway, projectiles definitely can be a problem for them, right? And our peltasts, like, javelins are good, and javelins are definitely effective against Ulm, right? Because like Ulm wants to get into melee and chop you. So anyway, like this stack of 60 peltasts is, nothing to sneeze at, but I mean, 60 peltasts against, like 200, over 200, almost troops, like no way, right? So the peltasts are going to help, but not going to be enough. We did PD dump the turn before in the hope that he was going to attack with just this force that I was pretty confident that the Titan could take, with some help. But I mean, this PD is like pretty meh. It's like the better light infantry, so more javelins, but then just like with militia, and some archers, and like very few of our national PD. Like they're gonna chop through this too. So then it's just really a question of like, well, is like all that gonna screen long enough and tie up long enough, for like our poison cloud to do enough damage to the almost troops. And I did a little bit of testing for this, scenario, for this battle. And I mean, it's never like perfect tests. I don't know, maybe you could set it up, but I'm too lazy to get it like, absolutely perfect. But it kind of seemed like it was like going to be a 50-50 shot, right? Where it's like half the time it's like, yeah, we would win, and then half the time we lose the Titan. And that's not great, right? Like the 50-50, like flip of the coin, because, if we lose our Titan here, in this force, like we don't have anything in the capital, right? And so then you just move. We don't have any other forts. Now maybe we'll be able to get Hinnom, maybe. But, currently we don't have anywhere else to recruit out of. So, like, once somebody gets sat on your capital, it's kind of game over. Like, Hinnom is in that position right now, right? Like, this is what he has. He can't recruit anything else. That really hurts. I do not want to end up in this position. So, chickening out, moving the Titan back, because we'll just be able to bring a lot more out, right? Like, and this way we can get maximum research, right? And then it's like he's probably going to combine here. Our national PD is better, right? Because we get on our forts, we get these Gigante hoplites, right? So we can PD dump even. I mean, we already have a good amount of PD here, but if we want, we could PD dump even further. And like this could actually get kind of scary, right? Like, really varies the kind of PD that you get, but I would say this is probably some of the best PD in the game. I mean, I don't know all the factions. There's so many factions, but these guys are tough to beat in terms of like what you're going to get out of your PD. So that'll be nice. And then of course, we get to take advantage of all of our mages. So it's going to be a safer play. Now, I mean, that said, we're sort of just we're giving up a lot of basically all of our territory to Ulm in the short term. Other than, very little bit that we captured, from Hinnom. So this is going to hurt, but it's going to hurt less than, just losing our Titan and then probably losing the game. So taking the more cautious approach, this could bite us. It's certainly going to put us behind, in terms of our income and everything, but yeah. And then, moving these militia back, like, I guess they couldn't make it. Yeah, they're just slow as molasses militia. But eventually they'll make it back in here and, maybe use them as a screen or to help hold up the walls for a little bit if I don't want to immediately sally out. Eventually they'll be somewhat useful as patrollers. So anyway, just slowly moving them back to the capital. And then, Hinnom is, he's playing hard to get, which is smart. Like, right, like this force, can't take my army. So, like, he's not interested in taking a fight with it. And I think he's going to continue to play hard to get. So we're actually splitting a little bit here. So we're going to be sending our Polemarch out into an enemy stack. And, we because that totally worked out before. But, like I really like this move from almost honestly, the combo makes sense, right? If it had more scouts, probably would have been able to better predict it. But I think for Hinnom, maybe he could, but if he stays here, right, I have an army that could destroy him, right? Whereas that is not the case here for Ulm, right? He didn't need to move. Hinnom kind of needs to move, because if I keep chasing him and he doesn't move, I'll destroy this army if I move my army in. So I think he's going to keep moving. I mean, it's possible he goes in on Marverni, but, probably not, because, he doesn't have a whole lot left. So it's does he really want to, risk it against like some Marverni force, or does he want to just go clean up, an empty province? I think he's going to clean up an empty province, and then maybe, right, try to jump back on his capital. Now, I mean, that said, he may try to combine right onto his capital anyway. And that's a risk, right, because we are sending the army back on top of his capital, because I think a breakout is very likely, right? So either, he sends like everything and breaks out, right, or maybe even just tries to break out from his capital. Now, I mean, if he sends everything, it'd be nice to have our Polomark to participate in this fight, right? He's not going to be there, and it's going to kind of be the last big fight with Hinnom. But I'm pretty confident in this army. I think it can take, even whatever his mages are throwing out. Now that he doesn't have the PD on there, because, he doesn't really have anything in this fort troop-wise. And then, this is it, and I have a feeling that, I mean, if it's 60 Avite swordsmen or 50 Avite swordsmen and just a couple of these other guys, that could be a little rough. But I suspect that it's probably closer to 30 Avite swordsmen, maybe 40. So yeah, I don't think that there's too much left in this army. So we're risking it. And because the other thing too is, right, Marverni is starting to push out. So we want to start getting our flag into places, right? Because now other people are going to either see or hear that Hinnom is in trouble, and all this other territory is going to start to get snapped up. And that is definitely an issue, right? Because we can't really, it'd be really nice to start sending these Polomarks out. If we weren't in a 2v1, all these Polomarks would be headed out over to Hinnom to start cleaning all these other provinces out to make sure that we get the lion's share of it. Can't do that though, right? Because we have our own existential threat over here. So our hands are somewhat tied. We're pretty limited in resources, so we're going to take our Polomark that we have and risk him, and try to get our flag in more places, while still trying to keep the capital locked down, because we absolutely do not want Hinnom to break out. So yeah, we'll see where he goes. There's an outside chance he just goes for my cap. Just sort of it's fine, your army's out here, I'm just gonna go do the same thing to you. You probably don't have much at home. I think it's more likely that he's gonna try to make a capital defense. But I mean, yeah, you never know. It would be kind of hilarious if he heads out. We have two people possibly heading for our capital. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that probably there'll be a battle on top of Hinnom that'll probably decide this war, either this turn or maybe he raids out one more turn, waiting for some research or something, and then goes to try to lift the siege. So yeah, and then just pulling some scouts back to try to see if anybody else is going to be trying to vulture, and also just still trying to find his bull. Don't know what's up with that. So yeah, it's looking more and more like it died somewhere, and we just missed that. Because I would have expected him to try to use it, or at least be in the area where it's usable. And we've kind of found a lot of his borders, and been through a lot of provinces. So I think it died somewhere along the line, which is great news. And then yeah, just trying to push. We don't have enough scouts. Haven't found an independent scout province. And we only have their capital. So, it's a little tough. Definitely missing, Ulm can just recruit scouts out of forests and mountains, which is really nice. Having to recruit them out of your forts or pray for an independent scout province is a little rough. So yeah, definitely have less information in this game. It is interesting, all the factions play pretty significantly different, which is one of the joys of Dominions. So yeah, I think that covers turn 16. All right, Mekone, turn 17. We finished research and enchantment. This was level 3, so this is for Fire Shield, which is going to be really nice for our Polemarks. And then it looks like we did switch over to Evocation, looking to give our mages, a little more oomph. There's not a ton that they can cast, especially our Fire randoms. Our Earth randoms can do Earth Meld, which is great, but our Fire randoms kind of don't have a whole lot to cast right now, which is not ideal. And I do think Evocation is going to be really strong against Ulm's, big armies of, just human troops. So yeah, starting Evocation research. Someone got the Throne of Fortune, which is good for them. I think this is a really cool throne, but we have max luck, so it wouldn't really help us as much, maybe not at all. I mean, you always get the Dominion spread, and obviously thrones are how you win the game, so it's never a bad thing to have a throne, but yeah, probably not a throne that I would like as much as normal, just because we already have maxed out luck. And that is something like, people, especially if usually you don't know what thrones are going to be in the game ahead of time, but you at least know like what level the thrones are going to be, and certain thrones appear at the different levels. It's like level 1, level 2, level 3, and they vary in terms of power and defenders based on the level, right? So level 1 thrones are pretty easy to capture, but their bonuses are not as powerful, and then the level 2s are in the middle, and then the level 3s can be quite difficult to capture, but their advantages can be pretty significant. So anyway, sometimes if it's like, okay, we're only gonna have level 2 thrones, and there's the list of level 2 thrones, you can take just like 2 luck or 2 growth in the hopes that you get a throne that's gonna boost you up to that max, so that you don't essentially waste a throne by already having maxed out one of the positive scales. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Gambling on that is, I was gambling on finding a free fort, so it's not like I can talk, but as you can see, like, that hasn't really worked out. So I think, it's probably one of those things where it's more incidental. Like, maybe that pushes you over the top if you're kind of 50-50 about whether you go like max luck or max growth in your build, and then you're it's like, I could go either way, and it's like, oh well, maybe there'll be a growth throne that I can get, so all right, I'll do too. But yeah, I think relying on getting those thrones, probably not a good idea, but yeah. So yeah, we had some battles. Let's take a look at these guys. Right, so this is us trying to capture that province that Hinnom had taken with his army, just with our Polomark. And he's up against quite a bit of PD here. This is a bit of a dump. I mean, this is pretty lame PD, just slingers. Like, slingers should be no problem. These heavy infantry, like, yeah, I mean, he should be able to clean these guys up. That said, not blessed, which does hurt, and he does have really high encumbrance. Like, I still haven't fully fixed that situation. Like, these guys really... And I have to thank the Kalem player for this. He definitely pointed that out to me. It's been pretty friendly, like, all game, really. Like, we already have a nap, and I guess he plays some Mekone. And yeah, just pointed out that, like, yeah, they have really high encumbrance, and he recommended, giving them a chess piece that, overall does lower their protection some. But yeah, it just helps a lot, because like, these guys do tend to fatigue out with their standard gear, and this is enough guys that might become an issue. And if we had our bless, he'd get the blood surge, and there's a little bit, not enough to counteract, but a little bit of reinvigoration that would help that situation. Not to mention it would increase his attack and defense. But this is going pretty well so far. He doesn't have fire shield up. It's probably not part of his script. Because I hadn't had it researched yet, and you can't, even if you're gonna get it like next turn, it's like you can't add a spell to your script that you don't have, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so he's taking some chip damage, and unfortunately, like, he does have the stone bird, so that's helping a bit, but he is killing these guys kind of slow, and like, this is where something like a frost brand or really any of the brands with some AoE damage, like, can really help, like, chew through just big groups of chaff like this a lot faster, and that means that this guy sees like fewer attacks, and you have less concerns about the battle taking a long time, right? Because now he's up to 45 fatigue. His defense is getting harassed down a whole bunch, which is fine because we're trying to rely more on his attack for a bit of repelling, and really high protection, and it's mostly working so far. But as his fatigue continues to stack, his attack and defense will get worse and worse. And he still has a lot of guys to kill. I mean, the slingers, you can see, like, they don't matter at all. So yeah, let's speed this up a little. Is he gonna slowly? And you can see, like, this is, so yeah, up to 57 now. Yeah, getting some chips here and there. Still, this is looking pretty good. I think he's gonna come away with it. Yeah, we're getting a rout, it looks like. So yeah, cool. And then some of these guys got trapped. The slingers haven't routed yet. The commander could be a bit of a problem, right? He's a giant, so he does enough damage to conceivably, break through our protection. But it's just the one, and our skills should be significantly better. So I think we got this. And just taking our sweet time. So we just fell asleep though, right? So this is where the fatigue is like really. This is not good, because once you're asleep, I don't think your defense. I know it says 18, but I don't think it actually matters at all. And you're more likely to get a critical hit if you're completely fatigued out. Which just means that they're more likely to actually break through the protection and deal a significant amount of damage. Now that said, these guys are just trying to run away, and it's just slingers. So this guy just falls asleep. Wakes up, kills a guy, falls asleep. So I think this will still work out. Just really painfully, embarrassingly slowly. It's just he'll get there. A slinger actually got some damage. So this is the giant. We really do want to kill this guy because realistically, he's the only guy left that poses any threat. You can see I think maybe a slinger. Did a slinger just get a kill? The thing of it is with the exploding dice system in Dominions, right? It's theoretically you never know when a slinger is just going to get lucky, right? With their daggers. What is this? Slinger hit Polemarch in the leg with a dagger for 5 points of damage. So he had a plus 12 to his damage roll. And we rolled poorly on our protection. So I think you always get, they call it the Dominion's random number, DRN. And I think it's a D6, but it's open-ended. So if you roll a 6 or whatever, you roll some number, you get to roll again, right? So he got 2 rolls, it looks like, probably, because you certainly can't roll a 12 with 1 die. So it's a lucky slinger, but so those lucky hits are going to happen. And then 2, that, I don't know how the battle log tracks criticals, but it could have been, right? And our morale broke. That is one thing. These Polemarchs, morale 14, I think it's being reduced. Not really. A little bit by Hostile Dominion, but he's getting it boosted by his experience. So their morale is actually not great. 14 is pretty meh. What is this commander? This random Avite commander, morale 15. What's going on here, buddy? Definitely something to consider with these Polemarchs. So it does look like we're going to escape. Hopefully we don't die in the retreat. But it's a little embarrassing having a Polemarch fail that. Granted, it was more PD than normal, but it was pretty lame PD for a Polemarch to be losing to, so ouch. But let's take a look. So we didn't lose him. So that is really nice. But he didn't take the province, so that sucks. And then we had another battle. So this is probably his army. And this is kind of nice because we now get to see. We may have seen this before, but now we know exactly what's in it, and it is a bit of a mix. It's certainly not 60 Avite swordsmen, so that's good. He's got a couple of these chariots in here, so they're a little dangerous, size 5 tramplers. So certainly against our Peltasts, they would clean them up pretty well, and they could even trample our giants, although probably not. And they don't have a ton of hit points, so not too worried about these chariots. And a couple sacreds, and he's got 1 priest? No, 1 caster here, an earth caster, maybe for some buffs, and his prophet. So he does have a couple sacreds here. They will get blessed. And this looks either he went full scales, which is possible, but considering. I think more likely his bull is dead, right? So it's if you have an incarnate bless and say regeneration, probably a pretty good pick on these guys. And I do believe the bull has nature paths, so he very well could have a regeneration bless, but it's incarnate. So for any of the incarnate blesses, if your god is not around for whatever reason, either because you took him dormant or imprisoned and hasn't arrived yet, or because you got killed, then your bless is not active, right? Incarnate blesses are only active when your god is around. So probably the bull is dead. Yeah, which is, again, just good news. This was a well-timed attack. The Ulm thing, not so good. Anyway, has no problem with our, our token PD. And then there was also a battle on Hinnom, so it looks like he tried to break out, but we moved our army in position, so let's take a look. And yeah, so he brought a bunch of swordsmen out, and it looks like one of his Horite shamans. And this is more swordsmen than I thought he had in his capital. So yeah, it's a good thing. Although I was expecting like more mage commitment from his breakout, right? Because usually, people, that's where they've been recruiting mages, on top of their capital. So if you're sitting on top of a capital, you can expect some mages to come out in all likelihood. So kind of surprised to not see mages. This is enough guys though that like this, we could take losses from this definitely. But our guys are really good. We have equal density, but our guys are bigger with more health, and at least comparable stats. These guys are also getting hammered by javelins, which they have shields, right? This is a solid shield, so projectile fire and their protection is decent, right? So javelins are not the end of the world for these guys, but it's a lot of javelins. So I think between those two and then just the fact that we outnumber them really badly, I'm not really sure what does this guy even do? Let's take a quick look here. He's not a very powerful caster. Yeah, so he stone-skinned himself. Never a bad idea, to keep your caster alive. Skeletal body will help against piercing weapons only, but we're pretty much all piercing, so also a good choice in terms of keeping him alive, but he just doesn't have a lot of research, right? Flying shards, tangle vines, all pretty meh. Tangle vines can be nice, but against giants, I think it's a strength check to get out of it, so giants break out of it pretty easily, and then flying shards just doesn't really do enough damage. Maybe kill a couple, helit peltasts, but we know how we feel about that. So yeah, I don't know about just the one. Maybe he hasn't been recruiting a lot of mages, right, and been focusing, trying to save up for infrastructure or something like that. Certainly there's different ways to play it, and he may not have a bunch of mages stacked up. Probably he has more than that, I'm guessing, but I don't know why he didn't bring him out with his troops. Maybe he was just thinking that he didn't need to, because he was thinking that my army was gonna follow. And we just got lucky, and he was thinking like, oh well, I can just break out. I would say that in that case, like if that was his expectation, that he was just gonna have to go up against the single helit peltast that I'd left, lower commitment, just like send out like a lone scout or something, because if it's just absolutely, especially if it's an unled like unit, that unit will just retreat, right? And so that way you risk way less, because he brought out that. I keep saying like, oh, there's nothing in the capital, and then 26 Avite swordsmen pop out, but he can't be recruiting anymore, so surely there can't be too much more left in there, right? And so he risked probably the remainder of what was in his capital troop wise, and got hammered by our army, right? We lost one human hoplite, which is fine. So this really worked out for us. And I'd say Hinnom is in trouble. But we have other problems. So Ulm attacked out. Let's take a look at this. So this looks like his other army, which I don't think we've seen yet. This is the one with his titans. This is the Keeper of the Bridge. I don't know what's up with this. I wonder if this is the same black steel tower shield that warrior chief brought into the arena. I guess surely it must not be, because I think you lose that gear because he died. So anyway, I don't know whether he's making these or he just found a bunch, but yeah, just a lone black steel tower shield, which it's a good shield. It's a really good shield. Its encumbrance is a little higher than normal, and it reduces your defense a little bit more than normal, right? Because it's big and heavy. But if you're worried about projectile fire, this is just going to put it almost an absolute stop to projectiles, and it provides a ton of protection. Can't be used by mounted units. He's not mounted, so that's fine. So there's nothing wrong with the black steel tower shield. It's just kind of odd that that's his only kit. So yeah, anyway, this kit doesn't look too scary. His paths are solid, for like thugging and through super combatant-y kind of stuff. so he can get regeneration on himself and, boost his protection up. He's already wearing, like, solid armor. I mean, like, I'm saying that, like, this isn't a lot of gear. On the other hand, his gear is not terrible, right? Like, so this chainmail cuirass, it's a little low in terms of protection. But, I mean, in his helmet, like, this is perfectly serviceable gear, right? Protection 18 is respectable. He only has 80 hit points. This is also, so actually getting less of a Dominion penalty than I would have thought. Although this isn't the same province, so I may have a lower Dominion here. We'll have to check that. And so, it looks like normally he only has 80 hit points, so a little less, I think, than our Titan. And actually, he is only size 5, so he would get boosted by the larger bless, which is cool. But he's not blessed because he's in unfriendly Dominion right now. So I didn't realize that. I guess there are size 5 Titans, and larger certainly would help this guy. So that's cool. It's a good synergy in his bless. But I mean, again, his gearing, like, I mean, damage 25, right? Like, that's respectable. You have, like, that can cut through certainly, like, my hoplites, and even, my pretenders to an extent. But I mean, it's no work. Like, I mean, these guys, his sacreds deal more damage. And actually, wait, why isn't this guy enlarged? That's interesting. Because, like, even though these guys are unblessed, larger works a little differently in that it's always active. You don't actually have to be blessed to receive its effect. But maybe that's not true for the pretender. Because I know that, like, pretenders can never be blessed when they're in enemy dominion. But, I mean, like, these guys are carrying the bless right now. I mean, sort of, like, the enlarged part of it. They don't get, like, the lone HP or whatever. Anyway, not sure what's up there. But so I mean, this is a scary army. There's more sacreds in here, right? And then plenty of these Iron Warriors, right? Who have the 25 damage maul. So this is a lot of scary stuff. Even the warriors, right? Like they deal a good amount of damage with 2 attacks. Like this is a scarier army. And it has some caster support too. So this is Ulm's hero, who's mostly just like their cap recruit mage, except he's guaranteed to be nature 3, which their cap mage is usually only nature 2, with occasional nature 3s. So anyway, and he's an H3, priest level 3. So he's cool, but like nothing crazy. But certainly plenty of buffs that he could be casting to support this army. And then he's just got one other really lame, I don't know why this shaman's here. This guy, not so much with the buffing magic. This is one of my least favorite path combinations to get with the shamans, so it'd be interesting to see what he does with them. But anyway, he's going to have no problem. This is, not absolutely minimal PD. He's just wrecking our 6 investment. Okay, so he's got some Legions of Steel, which is a classic, for Earth and for Ulm, and definitely a good choice. Because it just raises these guys' protection up a little bit. Not going to matter. It'll matter against our Peltasts and their Javelins, so it'll definitely help there. For our Hoplites, it's not really going to matter as much, our giant ones, because they're going to deal so much damage to, like, human level hit points that, like, I don't think Legions of Steel is going to make a huge difference. But it certainly won't hurt, even against our giant Hoplites. I mean, it's definitely, this is the scarier of the armies. Although it does look like he didn't combine, because this is, we don't have any of the archers, there's a couple archers, but certainly not enough. And then we caught a battle with Marverning, and this is, I think, just raiding again. It looks like he combined up, like, some of his raiding squads, just going up, against some PD. We just watch this fast. I think, he's got enough stuff here, and this PD is pretty lame. I don't even think he's going to take a lot of casualties. That looked pretty clean. So he lost a couple bare-chested warriors. Like, that's fine. That's a nice win. Looking bad for Hinnom, right? Losing this battle on here. I mean, he does still have his army that's loose, so that's unfortunate for me. Ulm continues to, like, slowly push forward. I was expecting more raiding, to be honest, considering his position. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we got rid of some unnecessary laws, but now we have more unrest, so maybe they were necessary. Opinions differ, I guess. We got a Cloud Mage. That's cool. So I haven't actually looked up, but I'm assuming this is similar to the Library of Time, that maybe there's this Singing Stones site nearby, hopefully, fingers crossed. So we'll definitely want to do some air searching around here, but in the meantime, it certainly doesn't hurt. He's just an Air 1 mage, but we get decent air access, but not amazing air access, so a little bit of extra air certainly doesn't hurt. And then, we got a province income event. I love these events, right? Because this is just 15 more gold from this province for the rest of the game. I mean, assuming we hold it. But, hey, if you lose, it doesn't really matter. Somebody else is going to get this. Can be a danger. Like, people with nice scales are more attractive to attack in a lot of ways, right? Because it's like, okay, while your scales will eventually replace your enemy's scales, you will benefit. Actually, I'm not sure. You may not benefit from luck. I should be careful. Definitely you benefit from growth, but I'm actually not sure that you benefit from your enemy's luck scales. That might be a corner case, because usually the scales apply, but luck might not. But anyway, certainly, right, like this stuff where it just adds like province income, you're gonna take advantage of that, right? Because it's like that's already in place. So you may not get additional good events, but you will get to take advantage of any previous good events. And I mean, if it's been luck 3 for a little while, like probably it's nicer territory. So it can be a bit of a risk, because if you have really nice scales, people are like, I would like some of that really valuable land. But anyway, this is huge. Really like to see this, because we're planning on holding this land. And then, speaking of luck, the Throne of Fortune is spreading, and even though we have max luck, right, in our scales, in our Dominion has not spread everywhere. So this is still good for us. I mean, it's good for everybody, pretty much. Like to see that. And then, so now that we actually have our army on Hinnom, we're breaking down the walls. Moderately damaged is not great, but this fort actually does have a lot of wall strength. So hopefully it's just because there's a lot of wall strength to get through, and not because he has even more Avite swordsmen in his capital. So we'll see. And then some promotions, and then our Polemarch, even though he failed to take the province, he got a heroic trait, and this is actually a really good one, lightning reflexes. So he gets increased defense. Actually would have preferred to get increased attack, because I think there's one that does attack and there's one that does both, but still, defense is absolutely relevant on thugs. Like, maybe eventually get this guy a vine shield, to help reduce the number of attacks he's going to see, and help, keep his defense nice and high. So anyway, it's cool to get a hero in there. But next time, take the province, buddy. What are we doing? So I think we're going to just continue to sit in siege. So he raided out. So I mean, I think Hinnom's army goes one of two ways, right? He either goes for our cap and sort of like you're on my cap, I'm going to go sit on your cap kind of thing, or he tries to combine with whatever he does have left in his capital. Personally, I would probably go for the combine. I guess it really depends on what his scouting situation is. He may be in contact with Ulm, so it's not impossible that they're working together, right? And so maybe that's a case, but I just think this is not enough realistically, especially since it's 3 turns away, right? So if he decides to march on my capital, I have time to prepare, and I already have a bunch of stuff, so this is just not enough stuff, really, to realistically go after a capital. And he actually did finish the Palisades out here, which I don't know if he just finished that or if I missed that in the first scouting run. So now he can perform recruitment, right? So it's he can't recruit out of his capital, but now he can recruit troops again, which is not great. So, I mean, he may even dance around a little bit more. Maybe take, I don't know, he can't. Actually, no, he could draw income off this, right? Because he can trace it back to this fort over here. So, I mean, he could even clear this out, or he might have enough move. Probably not. This is the Highlands. But he could look to try to take this back. Anyway, we're going to move our Polemarch back on top to join up. Maybe go after some of these northern provinces, considering that he just failed against this. And, okay, he does have the heroic trait, but that doesn't change the equation too much. right? It's only +2, which is, I mean, it's nice, but it may not change the result. And this was dangerous, right? Like he could have been killed. So we're gonna hold off for now until we can support him a little bit better. And considering that Hinnom might decide to jump on and fight a big battle here. So yeah, we'll see what Hinnom does. And probably, I can't remember exactly, but I've started talking with Bandar Log. I don't remember if it was this turn or Kailasa. But yeah, I mean, realistically, we probably aren't going to be able to sit on this fort anytime soon. So if we could, and I mean, it should be an easy sell to just be like, yeah, I've got his capital locked down. Like, here's some free infrastructure for you. Just hop on it. As long as he's not like super involved elsewhere, he'll jump on this and then prevent recruitment, which will be good. Now, it's a danger there, right? It's like, okay, well, we can probably kiss this stuff goodbye, especially if Kailasa jumps in. But we're probably going to lose out to Marverni on this one. So if we can pick these guys up, the capital, and then hopefully like all this stuff like that, that's pretty good. That's a good result for this war, I would say. So yeah, we'll see. And then the Ulm situation. So this army didn't move again. I don't know what's up. I don't really understand this move or lack of movement. Like, I don't really know what he's doing with this force. I would have expected maybe to break it up a little bit to do some raiding, or maybe even at least like capture. Like, I was expecting him to consolidate onto here with these two forces, but instead he took his reinforcements and captured this, which is fine, I guess. I mean, it does make sure, right? It's always a concern when you're eating somebody that other people, jump in and vulture, right? Exactly what I was talking about down here, right? So now Niflheim is like cut off. So it does ensure that he gets maximum benefit from this war, but it also doesn't really hurt me that much yet, right? Like, he's not really threatening my recruitment center, so this is giving me more and more time to prepare. So yeah, I feel like this is a bit of a mistake on his part. And to that end, I mean, so we have this PD out here that I was concerned I was just throwing away. So we're moving out, right? Because he didn't wipe it out, and now we have even more peltasts, just kind of doubling down on the peltasts, right? So now we have about double the number of peltasts that we did before, right? So now we're looking at about 100 peltasts, which again, is not going to match well with 200 almost troops, but that's a lot of javelin fire. So they will deal a lot of, damage and cause a lot of casualties. And then, mixed in with a little bit more javelin fire and archer fire and stuff and just other random chaff, and I mean, it's not like the peltasts will get no kills in melee. And we have enough troops where we won't be horrendously outnumbered. And so ideally, we'll get some trades in melee. And then we're bringing out a bunch of casters as well. So we're bringing out a bunch of Polemarchs, and also our Basilis, I think. Yeah. And then our E4s as well. So, and this is going to hurt, right? There's a lot of lost research that we're losing out on. But I think with all of this now, and with our Titan, I think we should be able to win even against that combined stack. Right, so what do we have setting up? I think, our Polemarchs are all going to be trying to thug, which is a little scary. Like, there'll probably be some casualties, right? The PD is going to run in first and take a lot of the, heat off of our Polemarchs, reduce the number of attacks they're going to be seeing, and then hopefully by the time the PD is completely wiped out, the peltasts will have thrown their javelins, and then we'll fill forward. And then, also help reduce the number of attacks that our Polemarchs are going to be seeing. And then hopefully our Polemarchs will, sort of create the peltasts are going to be dying left, right, and center, but the Polemarchs will hopefully create a little bit of pockets of resistance, and they'll be able to get some kills. And they have Fire Shield now, right? So they're also going to be dealing a lot of fire damage to their attackers. Ulm doesn't have any fire resistance. They have some cold resistance on their troops, but no fire resistance. So they should be, dealing a decent amount of damage. Fatigue should be a lot less of a problem because I've started to put these fire plates on them because we get a decent number of fire gems, and their protection is decent, but not not great. It's less than their standard armor, but their encumbrance is significantly lower, right? So this guy's encumbrance is 4 versus like somebody that's still wearing the regular armor. Yeah, encumbrance 9. And also because we took full heat scales, and I think it's like summer right now, getting additional encumbrance from the heat, which when you're wearing this, the fire plate, you don't get that encumbrance because you get some fire resistance. So you no longer see encumbrance due to the severe heat. So anyway, yeah, these fire plates are really good. And again, have to, tip of the hat to the Kalen player who, definitely recommended this. And I do think it's worthwhile. It is chewing through a lot of our fire gems, which is unfortunate. But, gem expenditure is part of Dominions. It'd be nice if we could wait until we get a hammer up, and that's probably something I messed up. It's turn 17 and we still don't have a hammer. We don't currently have a way to get a hammer, but I think all these Elder Cyclopses are guaranteed to be able to forge hammers. So if I'd recruited one of them, now they're slow to recruit and they're not as good in combat as the Polemarchs, but I do think like taking 2 turns to get one of them out so I could get a hammer out, especially because we're doing so much forging, probably would have been worth it. But here we are. We have more Polemarchs this way, so that's good. So they're going to go in and try to thug, which is scary. We'll see. We're probably going to lose some of them, but hopefully they'll do enough damage, and they're going to tie up troops a heck of a lot longer than our Peltasts, because we have our Titan out here, and she is going to deal the majority of the damage, I suspect. Like, sure, the Peltasts are going to get kills with their javelins, absolutely. Fire shield, these guys are no joke. They're going to spear a bunch of guys. But this poison cloud is just going to deal way more damage. So we really don't want her to get just absolutely surrounded and focused and hammered, right? And so all these other elements, with the PD and the Peltasts and our casters is going to help, take some pressure off of her so that, she can regenerate through the damage that she is seeing. And then our other casters are mostly here for Earth Meld. Right, and that's just going to break up Ulm's formation, and also is just fewer attacks that we're going to be seeing, right, for any of the guys that get held, more than 1 or 2 turns. And it'll make it easier for our because our Peltasts don't have the best skills, so this will make it, more likely that they can connect, because once you get melded, you no defense score. So I think all those things combined, I think we win this. I don't want to say handily. I think we're going to lose a lot of Peltasts, which is pretty standard and fine as Mekone. And I think we're going to lose some Polemarchs, which is going to hurt a lot. And there's an outside chance we lose our Titan if things go badly, because she is pretty far forward. It is possible that they focus her hard. That said, the PD is just going to run forward. The Peltasts are just set to fire closest immediately, so they're going to start moving forward right away. Our Polemarch script is not long, so it's just 2 turns and they're going to go in. And then she is just slow as molasses. Combat speed 3. So even though she's really far forward, these guys are going to catch up with her really quickly. And she's only casting 1 spell. But so it's like there's only 1 turn. So the Polemarchs just need 1 turn of movement, and then they'll have basically caught up with her. And even the Peltasts, Peltasts are the same speed. So everybody's going to catch up with her pretty quickly. So even though she is a bit exposed, we are going to get blessed. We're doing some blessing, right? Ooh, we're not doing some. Oh, we don't need to bless, right? Because we're going to be fighting in friendly dominion with our pretender. So all of our guys will be automatically blessed, which is huge, because, I don't know about huge, but we'll have Blood Surge available for them, which will be very nice, and we don't have to worry about getting them blessed, because we've seen how that, doesn't always happen. Even though she's a little exposed, I think it'll be okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Or we lose our god next turn. But anyway, we're moving out here. I really am expecting him to consolidate here, right, in an effort to push for the capital. I don't know why else this would have just sat here. That said, I am really kind of struggling to understand his moves sometimes. I guess it's possible that, he tries to, he moves this here, I guess. But that would leave him, really split. I guess it's not impossible. Like, he could consolidate back here with these armies, but I don't know why I would do that. Doesn't make a lot. So I really am expecting a consolidation and a major battle here, or I guess he switches into raiding mode. But would have expected him, right? Like, why just sit here if you're just gonna switch into raiding mode anyway? So yeah, we'll see. People are unpredictable. And then our militia is finally making it home. I think we have here's our air mage out here. He's doing some searching because sure, why not? He's out here. He can't really go anywhere safely anyway, right? Because you never know, he might move out here. So sure, get a little site searching done. Stay safe. Continuing to siege Hinnom. I think that covers turn 17.